This time on Low Boost, we're getting a new car. The 911 has been the staple of what sports cars should be for decades upon decades. However, there is one generation that gets a lot of crap in regards to it not being a real 911 or people that just don't like it. And it's this right here. It's a 996. But today I'm going to go over why you really should be getting one. By the late 90s, Porsche had a lot of problems on their hands when it comes to making 911s, or really any car for that matter. They were struggling in sales. The air-cooled Porsches that they've had really reached the limit of their power potential and their emissions capacity going into the future. And there was a lot of people concerned that they were not only not even going to be able to make 911s anymore, but that Porsche was going to go out of business. So what they did was they tried a really last-ditch effort to kind of save the company. And they wanted to build a car that could both sell really well and that was interchangeable with other Porsches. And that was why they made the Boxster. And you could argue that the Boxster single-handedly saved Porsche. And when they made the 911, they basically took the Boxster to the front of the car here. They still could make the rest of the 911 look like a 911, but it just had different headlights. Now, these headlights were not just a crazy design. They were actually used in their old GTLM cars, and they look really well on those cars, and I don't think they look terrible on these, especially in this model. It's a 996.2. It does have different headlights than the original 996.1. But here's the kicker. Their sales of their 911s really started waning in the late 90s. And you could say that the 993 is a better car than this, but I'm just gonna disagree with you on every level. The 996 is a better car. And is the 997 a better car than this? Absolutely. But there's a difference between this car and every old car that's older than this car and every car that's newer. The big difference actually isn't in performance. A 997.1 Carrera S does have the 3.8 liter flat six engine that makes 355 horsepower, and you could say is considerably faster in a straight line than this 996.2. But the 997.1 Carrera non-S has virtually the same engine as this, about 320 horsepower, 3.6 liter, but just because of these headlights, and people aren't big fans of them, you're getting this car, you can get into one of these at almost half the price as a 997. And to be honest with you, not even just a 997, a beat 997. You could get a really nice example of a 996.2, and the difference really is in price, because if you look at everything else, in terms of reliability, performance, looks, and refinement, the 997.1 is better than a 996. I'm not going to argue with that, but I don't think it's twice the price better. So for the money, you're really getting a bargain in this car. Now, I'm not going to come on here and be a 996 fanboy and tell you that the interior on this is nicer than any model generation that came out after this. The 997 is a much better interior than this. But I will argue and say that this interior is better than any generation that came prior, and those are exorbitant amounts of money because they've become collectible at this point. In terms of driving feel as well, the steering wheel, the shifter, and the pedals are probably the best position I've ever felt driving any car. I can heel toe this thing better than I've been able to heel toe on any other car that I've ever had. And if you could just, I don't know if you can see my feet position there, look at that. Boom, boom, boom. And the interior really is nice. I like this color combination, lapis blue metallic on cinnamon interior. This interior looks like a basketball to me, and I really like the contrast. The other thing you could say about this interior that you can't say about a lot of other exotics or supercars is, this is a 2+2. As you can see there, you can fit a car seat in the back of this thing, where you can't do that in a lot of other sports cars. So if you do have children and you want to drive them around, unless you get a big four-door sedan or a big coupe, you're not really going to be able to do that. You can with this. Now, if your kids are adults, like at least 5 feet or taller, they're really gonna have an uncomfortable time back there. But in car seats, it's just fine. Hey. Hi. Didn't work. So actually, to drive this thing, even if it is a 996 and people don't like the headlights, at the end of the day, it's still a 911. So it drives like one. Oh my God! Woo! Because my hair gets messed up, but in this thing, even with all the windows down, my hair don't get messed up that bad. It's like that, that's perfect. Drive all day long. Now, the 996.2, by today's standards, is not really considered super fast. 13.1 second quarter mile at 107, 108 miles per hour. So you're not gonna wow anybody on the highway with this thing, but at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter. This thing drives amazing, and I've had some really good driving cars. And I think the best driving car I've ever had to this point was my F22 BMW M235i with 6-shift, 6-speed. That thing drove amazing, and even though this is not nearly as fast, it drives a lot better. Just the shifting feel, the steering feel, the pedals are so much closer to each other, it's a lot easier to heel toe. This thing just feels amazing. And anybody that hasn't driven a 996 really should, because if you're thinking, oh, I really would want a 997 because it's better, it's faster, it's nicer, it doesn't have the fried egg headlights. The 997 is almost double the price of this, even for a regular one in some cases. So I don't think it's double the car. I really don't think it's double the car, and I've driven both. And the 997 is a better car, better interior. It is better in every way, but a 996 at the end of the day is still a 911. One of the main reasons that I got this car was because I think I'm going to turn the Corvette into a track car. And I do think that the Corvette, no matter, removing the variable of the driver, me in both cars, I do think I'd be faster at the track with the Corvette than this. And unless I did some serious modifications to this, which I really don't want to do. This is a really nice driver, nice canyon carver, and this has a back seat. And the Corvette doesn't, and my wife really doesn't want my daughters inside the GMW. So this is a really good car to take to car shows. It's a lot of fun. My daughter loves riding around in this thing. She has a blast. She always wants me to go fast. She likes to hear the engine in this thing. So it's really, really nice. She absolutely loves it, and it allows me to be able to still, be the car enthusiast I am, while still being able to take my kid around with me at the same time. And it looks like $1 million. Like, you wouldn't, if you're not a Porsche person, you wouldn't know that I paid low 20s for this, and it wouldn't even be. You'd think I paid 80 grand for it, because it still looks like a 911. And a lot of people knock the 911 because they all look the same, but really that's a bonus, because it doesn't look that much different from a new one unless you know what you're talking about, and it costs a fraction of the price. So now that you guys know how great the 996 is and how much of a bang for the buck it is, you probably should go get one, because the values of these things, once people realize how great they are, they're only going to go up. And actually, they've already started to go up a little bit too, so get one now while you can. So that about sums it up with the car. I just want you guys to know I will be taking this to the track. So you're going to get to see a lot of content with that. So make sure you guys subscribe to stay up to date on all the uploads I have on that. I am going to be doing videos on the car, although I'm not going to be modifying it a whole lot because I like it just the way it is. So I am going to go over some of the modifications that have been done to the car and as to why you might want to get them. But basically this car is pretty straight as it is, and I bought it as a driver, not necessarily a project. So I'm really excited to actually do that and drive it around a lot. So stay tuned. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit the like button because that really helps us out with the YouTube algorithm. It lets other people know that they should be watching this video too. So make sure you guys hit that like button. Thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.